Olá, pessoal, tudo bem? Eduarda aqui hoje. Eu estou com um vídeo muito especial. Estou aqui hoje com o Chris Richards. Ele é presidente e fundador da Argo Visa. A Argo Visa é uma empresa composta por oficiais consulares que ajudam pessoas que estão aplicando para vistos num processo de entrevista simulada, para que essas pessoas se preparem por meio de uma mock interview, uma entrevista com pessoas que já estiveram no lado de lá. Essa é uma experiência que a D4U valoriza muito. Aqui na D4U, vocês sabem, nós temos o Mr. Jensen, que é um USCIS Officer Director aposentado, que faz parte do nosso time. Nós valorizamos muito essa experiência, por isso que nós trouxemos o Chris aqui hoje para conversar com a gente. So, thank you very much for your time, Chris.
No problem. Thank you for having me.
Very nice to be talking to you. And my first question, of course, is about Argo Visa. What does Argo Visa do? How do you help your clients through Argo Visa services?
So the most important thing to know about Argo is we really want to close the knowledge gap with visa interviews. I used to be a visa officer, and all of us are former visa officers who work for Argo. And I worked as a visa officer in Nigeria, Nicaragua, Pakistan, and Spain. And what I learned was that a lot of what goes on behind the window for officers is very, very different than what visa applicants know. A lot of visa applicants apply for visas, not have a strong understanding of what's going on really behind the window. And so I really started this company as a way of bringing the former visa officer experience and introducing that to visa applicants. Because right now, even if you use an immigration attorney, you just don't have the same knowledge that a former visa officer would.
Yeah, it's very different what is just technical and what's practice, right?
Right, exactly right. What's different, and I think a lot of lawyers, they look at this stuff and they think, well, if you follow the law and do this technically, then that's what'll win over the visa officer. But that's not the case. A lot of what being a visa officer is and what they do is about just personalities and just how you sell yourself. And that's something that at Argo really, really focuses on is how do we help clients sell themselves?
Yeah, no, that's very interesting because many of our clients are very afraid of the interview, although they know a little bit
Right.
of what's going to be asked. So it's
Hmm.
very nice to know that behind the scenes, what's important to say and not to say. So
Hmm.
I would like you to share a little bit of your experience as a visa officer, what you did, what's important for you to know. Of course, I know there's confidential information that you probably cannot disclose, but of course, within the things that you can say, what's important to know.
When I was a visa officer, I used to be an immigration attorney. I am an immigration attorney, and then I was a visa officer, and then I was an immigration attorney again, right?
Oh,
And what I
great.
found was that as an immigration attorney, I really thought that the paperwork was really, really critical. I prepared my clients with lots and lots of paperwork, and what I didn't know or realize is that the paper is really just that's the secondary part of the story. The most important thing that you can do as a visa client is know what's in that paperwork and be able to articulate that, especially if you're doing like O1 visas, which are really, really popular in Brazil, EB2
Yeah.
NIW, really, really popular in Brazil. Like the paperwork isn't going to get you over the hump unless it's like a very, very obvious case. The paperwork doesn't get being able to articulate and explain yourself in a way that the visa officer understands, that's the most important thing. And so the biggest lesson I learned as a visa officer is that the paperwork really doesn't matter. It's really about how you tell your story.
Yeah, we always have the impression that it's basically very difficult to manage the amount of paperwork that a visa officer needs to deal with, right? Because there's a lot
Mhm.
of paperwork submitted. So that's why the conversation, the interview
Mhm.
is so important, right?
Right, right, right. But there is a lot of paperwork that's submitted, but most visa officers aren't immigration attorneys, right? Most
Yeah.
immigration officers, they really have only surface level understanding of immigration. This is when you first start. As time goes on, you obviously develop more. And that's important to be able to understand because I think that a lot of people go into the visa interview and a lot of people prepare visa applicants thinking, oh, well, they're going to go talk to someone who has like all of this intricate knowledge and experience with immigration. And that's just not the case. A lot of immigration is about how you are going to be able to tell your story in a way that the officers understand. But also, and a very important part of our company is that if you're not qualified, we're going to tell you you're not qualified. We're going to tell
Yeah.
you you're not going to get this visa. And it's really important that people understand that and understand the reasons why you might not get a visa.
Yeah, no, that's why we are partnering with Argo Visa here at G4U, because we want our clients, of course, who are eligible for the type of visa they're seeking, to be well prepared and to really know what they can and cannot have in terms of a type of visa and things like that. So that's why right now we already have many G4U clients using Argo Visa services. Can we call the interview what is exactly the service? We have a mock interview, we have a simulated interview to
Yeah.
prepare.
Oh, absolutely. I think it's more of it's a mock interview, but in a sense of trying to help you get comfortable with doing the visa interview, but also understand kind of what's in the visa officer's mind, right? Because
Okay.
so like I, for example, did tens of thousands of visa interviews. Most visa officers have done tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of visa interviews. And so if you do that many interviews, we all have the same ideas and thoughts on fact patterns, right? And so that's why like an immigration attorney isn't going to be able to prepare you necessarily as well as a former visa officer would, because our fact patterns and what we know from just doing all those interviews are very different. And so what we're going to do in that mock interview is not just let you talk back and forth. We're really going to hear what you're saying, and we're going to let hey, this is going to work. Hey, this isn't going to work. And these are the reasons why this isn't going to work. And what are ways to improve the way that you tell your story. But what we've prided ourselves on is our ethics and our honesty and our integrity, right? And so we're going to be honest with you and tell you, what are the things that are positive, but also the things that might be problematic for your case.
Yeah, I know that. And that's very good that you act that way. We also act that way. And I know you prepare individuals for tourist visa interviews, as well as student visa and
Mhm.
also immigrant visa interviews, right?
Correct.
And you have different types of services. Those interviews are different. They have different times, different lengths, and all of that.
Absolutely. Every interview is different, right? And so a
Okay.
tourist visa interview is going to be very, very different than an O1 visa interview. O1 is going to be different than EB2 NIW interview. And you really, as a client, have to be prepared for the different types of interviews. And so we as a company, we really focus on how can we prepare our clients in the best way for their particular circumstance.
Yeah, yeah. Are those interviews always matched with an officer that speaks their native language and that has interview in their consulate?
We try to match people with the same experience, and we try to match people in terms of like, hey, if you have an EB2 NIW, we want to match you with someone who does that. We also want to match you with people who speak the language too. Those are very, very important parts of the business and who we are, because we want to make sure that you get the best experience possible. Now, sometimes, we aren't necessarily able to do that, but
Okay.
we really try our best to match you with someone who speaks your language and someone who has a knowledge and strong understanding of the visa category from which you're applying to.
Okay, okay, okay. Most of our clients, as you know, they are EB1 and EB2 applicants, also L1, O1, E2 applicants, and those clients normally get very nervous for that interview because it's not only tourism, they're changing their lives a little bit. They're preparing to live in the United States. Could you share like some do's and don'ts that they're probably going to learn in those interviews, things that they are going to get guidelines about?
Sure. For O's and EB2 NIW, so for EB2 NIW, especially right now, the embassies and consulates in Brazil are really cracking down on those and being really tough on those types of cases, right? And so I think that the file itself has to be flawless, and the visa applicants have to be really, really well prepared to talk about every little thing in that file.
Okay. They
And
need
for
to be very aware of their own case, right?
be very, very aware of your own case. And for the O's, it's the same thing. You have to really be thinking about what makes you extraordinary, and making sure that, both your paperwork, but also your interview is not cookie cutter, right? You have to be showing what distinguishes you as an O from other types of O. And that's especially true right now in Brazil, where we're seeing just a lot of questions from the embassies and denials.
Yeah. Why do you think that is? Why do you think there are so many denials coming from Brazil?
I think that there have just been a lot of bad cases. And the way that works in the State Department is if, we see 5, 6, 7 bad cases, we're hard on everybody after that, right? If we see cases that might have been bad, might have been fraudulent, might have had problems, unfortunately, it doesn't matter if your case was good. Everyone kind of pays for that later, right? And so for us, what we have seen is that a lot more embassies and consulates, especially in Brazil, have just been a lot harder on those visa applicants, because they want to make sure that what you are applying for and what you're saying is the truth.
Okay. So in the end of the day, other applicants end up paying for bad cases that came before them. So they should be even better prepared for that.
Yeah.
Okay. So D4U clients right now, they can benefit. So if it is their phase, if they are in the interview phase, they can get in contact with the people helping them, their case managers, and with D4U, and they're going to put them in contact with Argo Visa to match with the best professional to have that interview with a discount price, right?
Right, absolutely.
With a discount price.
With a discount price, that's right.
Yeah, and of course, there's a very good match between our services and your services.
Exactly.
They complement each other. They're not the same service. That's something that our clients always question. Why is that the same service? It's definitely not, right?
No, it's not the same service. And in fact, I think we're very complementary of each other. And I think that's why I'm so excited by this partnership, is that it really is a great opportunity for both of our companies to grow and help visa applicants navigate the visa process.
No, that's very, very nice. That's what we think too. And we are happy to announce that partnership, say that our clients can already benefit from that discount. And I would like to know if there's anything else that you think it's important for our clients to know if they're going to hire Argo Visa services, how they should prepare for their interview, their mock interview. What should they bring? Should the family be together? Just the main applicant? All of those details.
Yeah, it's not probably necessary that the family be together. It's the main applicant that really has to be prepared and be able to speak to the issues in the visa application itself. What a lot of people will do is, they might have somebody else do their paperwork and they just might not be prepared for it. And so for us at Argo, the most important thing is just that you're ready, right? That you can talk and that you understand it. But the most important thing is that you're honest, right? Like, you don't want to, if you've been denied before, or if you've had any kind of issues that might raise red flags, it's important that visa officer, know about that in the mock interview, so that we can better prepare you just in case.
Yeah. And just because a case was denied before, it doesn't mean that it's going to be denied again, right?
Absolutely not. Just because a case was denied before doesn't mean that. You can have a situation where someone gets their visa the second time around.
Yeah. And that's those hard cases are the cases that really should use that kind of service, right?
Exactly. Yeah. I agree with you 100%.
Yeah. So that's very nice to hear, Chris. I'm very excited about this partnership. I'm sure our clients are going to benefit a lot from that. It's very nice to announce, and I would like to invite our audience to leave their comments, their questions below. We can come in other videos with more questions from the audience so that we can respond. And of course, from now on, our clients can already use this partnership. I really thank you for your time, for your knowledge that you are so nice to share with us. And we will talk soon again about Argo Visa services.
Perfect. Thank you all so much.
Thank you very much, Chris. Tchau, pessoal. Muito obrigada. Foi muito bacana conversar aqui com vocês sobre o serviço da Argo Visa. Como eu disse aqui, os clientes da D4U podem usufruir de um desconto especial por conta da parceria entre a Argo Visa e a D4U, que são serviços complementares para que vocês se sintam absolutamente preparados e seguros para suas entrevistas. Até mais!